essential that we provide the legal and regulatory framework within which emerging technologies will operate. Otherwise, it's as if they grow like weeds, and the needed results that we want to achieve may not be achieved. You know, the private sector focuses on profit. And if you're hosting your data in a data center, you have to be sure that it is being protected. Cloud infrastructure normally sits on the data center. And as the technology emerges, we need to provide the framework which will ensure that, one, those operating it have the requisite skills, that the industry is operating in accordance with our law, and that the rights of individuals and companies and the sectors that host their data there are protected. One key thing that we want to promote with this is localization of the data in our country. We produce that data. It must be stored here. We don't have anything against the Amazon cloud services and the big cloud service operators. It's fine. Let them come and build data centers here and host Africa's data on the continent, because it's expensive. And we're paying twice to host the data on other cloud services, pay for the management of that data, and pay to retrieve it for our use. It doesn't make any sense. It will promote the growth of the sector if our data is hosted here. It is kept in a secure environment. It will enable many more businesses to come and locate their businesses here, their data centers here, knowing that we have the proper framework, which is up to international standards, to protect or to promote the environment within which they work, and to protect their interest as well, and ensure that the individuals' privacy and the data is securely hosted and protected. Now, with Ghana's relatively better connectivity than most countries on the continent, with the number of private data centers and public data centers we have, with the number of submarine cables landing here, we're uniquely positioned to be a hub for international data center services. And so I'm glad that one of the largest data centers on the continent is going to be built in the trade fair, which is being funded by a $300 million grant from the US. African Data Centers Limited is just about to break ground on it. That can only attract additional business when they have a conducive environment within which to operate, so that we can provide more jobs for our young people. And promoting digital skills acquisition in this area is also absolutely critical. So even as we speak, in collaboration with Smart Africa Digital Academy as well, Kofi Annan ICT Center is training our young people, 20,000 of them, in cloud services and artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, and other cutting-edge services. And once they have those skills, because of the shortage of these critical skills globally, it's guaranteed that they will walk into a job waiting for them almost immediately. So if we can also produce skilled manpower to maintain and operate data centers and cloud services, that also assures the international operators that when they relocate their services here, they have a conducive environment within which to work. There's a proper legal and regulatory framework within which they're operating, and the needed skilled manpower that they require to hire to promote their businesses is also in country. So all these things we're doing is to help promote more employment for our young people within the digital space. It will grow our digital economy as well. It will enable, it will attract revenues into our country, and it establishes us as a major hub in the West African sub-region for new and emerging technological industries to come and work. And not only that, it also promotes the innovative spirit and entrepreneurial spirit of our young people. So there are multiple reasons why this is so critical for us. And we're grateful for the support of Smart Africa. And as Thelma indicated, the learnings, Smart Africa is piloting this in Ghana and Djibouti. We have over 30 member countries. We learn from each other's experiences so we don't reinvent the wheel. So if we produce a document that is globally acceptable and mirrors international best practices, it will be adopted by other Smart Africa member states and the rest of the continent. So we're working not just for us, but looking at the development of the continent as a whole, which I think is a great thing. So I urge the participants, I want their active involvement in it. Some of the industry operators are working in other countries on the continent. The challenges, the successes that they've experienced there compared to the business environment here would all help to flesh out a document that can only promote the growth of the sector.
Any timelines? Have you given them any timelines on that?
Oh, by the middle of this year. Now we're just waiting. Once we do the stakeholder consultations, the draft document, the draft regulatory framework is already available. The law is there, which is the NITA Act and the Electronic Transactions Act, which gives NITA the power and the minister, working with the minister, to provide regulations for any industry within this, any electronic transactions in this country. So once we have the regulatory framework, get cabinet approval, we're taking it to Parliament for it to be passed before the end of this year.
Honourable, so it would appear that since you asked NITA to focus on regulation, they are really coming hard. This is just number one. What other regulations are we expecting after that?
The NITA Act and the Electronic Transactions Act were passed in 2008. As at now, there's no legislative instrument backing its full implementation. But we've finished working on that, and so that should be in Parliament in this sitting of Parliament, so that it will be passed into law. And I'm grateful the World Bank provided funding for that. A lot of people have worked very hard. The industry stakeholders, we had consultants working with us. So for the first time since 2008, we're going to have regulations guiding both the NITA Act and the Electronic Transactions Act. And we're looking at other sectors in the industry as well. So I'm glad that when they focus their attention on the regulatory framework, a lot has been done, but a lot more needs to be done.